Things up to we're going to lift on the opposite side of practice and lift as a whole team. First, before we start, just an awareness. So today, Blake Anderson is one of my best friends in this business and period in life, really. Today is Kason Anderson, his old son's birthday, who committed suicide. And the mental health awareness, the opportunity to spread that out, that people sometimes they need help, and sometimes we don't see it. Blake has a great foundation to help anybody that has struggles. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask people for help, because Kason was a great young man, is a great young man, and he's not suffering anymore. And I know today would be really hard for a parent. So just prayers and blessings to Blake. Saturday, obviously, we put ourselves in a big hole. The 2 punt returns early on, for UNLV to start at the 30-yard line and then get a one-play touchdown, and then the 32-yard line and score. Thought our offense answered with a great drive, made it 14-7. And I thought a huge play in the game. We had him 3rd and 6. We're hitting Jaden Maeva as he's throwing off his back foot, and Ricky White goes up and makes a spectacular catch over Zach, who was in good coverage. And then they were able to put the ball in the end zone. But I thought our offense started to respond, and we got down to the 27-yard line with a great drive to try and make it 21-14 to stay in the game. And then we fumbled, and they were able to return it to our 5-yard line and put it back in the end zone, which was a big 14-point swing, and went from being 21-14 to all of a sudden 28-7. And obviously, special teams played a big role in this game. You saw yesterday, I decided to make a change in that aspect of our team. Just think it's time to have a new voice and a new direction for the next 3 weeks to change that up. So we'll do things differently as a staff over the course of the next 3 weeks to fix that, and then we'll solve that position going forward after the season. Obviously, we didn't play well enough on that aspect, and then we gave ourselves a big enough hole that we couldn't get out of. And give credit to UNLV. They've got a good team. They've got some good players that made plays, and we weren't able to stay with them because, you give them fields of 32, 21, 25, and 9. That's really hard to sacrifice anything out of that. And we, our kids kept fighting. We held them to a 4th and goal from the 5-yard line at the end of the game, and then we put that drive together. Devin obviously made some good plays. They left their good guys in up until the very end, the last drive. So, they got after us, to give them credit. They're a good football team. We got a great opportunity to go play Boise on Saturday. It's going to be 8 p.m. It'll be nice weather. I've been up in November, and when it's freaking freezing and terrible up there. So we practiced outside in the stadium today, where it was obviously significantly warmer. We'll practice outside tomorrow and Wednesday, and then we'll travel up there Friday. And it's always fun to play in that stadium. It'll be a great atmosphere. The aura of the blue turf and all that stuff. Obviously, in 2015, New Mexico went up there with the only win against Boise State in unbelievable fashion. So we're excited to go up there as a big underdog and take on Boise State.
You said the decision to dismiss Jamie was yesterday. That was when you made the decision.
That's Sunday, yes.
And was it just that UNLV was a tipping point, or was it something that you were kind of looking at in the weeks prior?
I think we've struggled a lot in the return game this year, obviously, and I just thought that it was the time for a different voice. Jamie Christian did a great job. He came here with my inaugural staff, worked his tail off for this place. I think Jamie Christian's a good coach. I just think we need to go a different direction on that aspect of our football team.
I'm curious, too. Unfortunately, this has happened before. How do you talk to players about something like this, kind of making a mid-season change?
Well, we have a leadership group that everything goes through them. So I talk to them about it first, and then I talk to our entire team, and then they have an opportunity to come talk to me if they need to.
How much juice can a change make like that for a team? Just a new voice for them, even if it's going to be a collective group. How much juice can that give them?
It can create a spark. Kickoff and punt was ones we did today. We'll do punt return and kickoff return tomorrow. We divided up amongst the staff, and Coach Reffett will organize to make sure that we're all on the same page. And we game planned and did all that stuff on Sunday and Monday together. So we'll go down that path. And I mean, it can create. I mean, I thought the energy outside of practice day was great. So we'll see how they play on Saturday. But that's a third of the game, and obviously we didn't perform well enough, especially Saturday, to give ourselves a chance.
And Coach, heading into Boise this weekend as well, I mean, Eric McAllister, top receiver for Boise State, entering the transfer portal. Does that change how you guys are scouting this offense, or how are you looking at Boise?
No, I mean, Eric has a lot of targets, and I can't speak on what all that is. They'll put 17 or they'll put 1 at that spot, and they'll run the same offense. I mean, when he's not in the game, they don't change. Obviously, he's a really good player, so schematically they won't change. I mean, Ashton Genty didn't play against Wyoming, or didn't play against Fresno. Got her banged up in the Wyoming game. We're practicing as if he'll be back. So George Halani came back against Wyoming, and then he looked like he was back to his old self Saturday against Fresno. And then they've got the 2-quarterback machine that they go back and forth. Taylon Green can run. He's big. He's got a good arm and can throw it over the top. And then Maddox he can run just as well. I mean, a lot of those quarterback draws, the 27-yard touchdown that he scrambled for on Saturday, I think Maddox can make all the throws. They're both good quarterbacks, so we'll prepare for both. They do a little bit different things when each one's in the game, so we'll have to adjust as they play. I mean, Taylor started every game. He started Saturday, and then on the second play, Maddox was in. So he might be in there for a long time. I mean, the zone read and all that stuff, he can run around you. I mean, he does a good job of reading it, and he will, if you give him a give read and you kind of flirt on the edge of wanting to hand off and fold in there and help make a tackle, he's going to pull it and run right around the edge. And he's fast enough to do that, and he's big and he's hard to tackle. So, if Ashton Genty's playing and George Halani, they've got a big 1-2 punch that they had hoped to have going into the season. They haven't had them both fully healthy, so if they both are fully healthy on Saturday, we'll have quite the challenge.
8 p.m. kickoff this week. What do you guys got to do to, make sure that you start fast?
We got to play better on special teams, and we can't turn over the football. We got to go out there and get a stop and get our offense the ball and get some momentum. The start Saturday on the first drive. I mean, the worst part is we ran the ball okay, and then we slip on a second down and almost throw a pick six. DJ's able to get up enough to tip the ball away, and then slip on third down, which was unusual out there. And then the punt return, and Aaron can hit the ball a mile. That one just outkicked our coverage a little bit, so we worked on a lot of that stuff today. Aaron is a great punter, and he did some really good stuff today. If we can hang it up for 4.5 seconds, we can cover all those. The ones that he did, they covered. The ones that we didn't, we struggled covering in space, especially with some of the guys that we have out at those spots. So we'll hang the ball up if we have to punt it. But I thought, second and third drive, offense was moving the ball. Unfortunately, statistically, we dominated the first half, which is sad when you're down 28-7. So, we've got some things that we've got to obviously capitalize on and out execute. And the New Mexico Lobos can't beat the New Mexico Lobos. We've got to go out there and be on point and give ourselves a chance, especially from the very beginning.
Coach, when you have breakdowns in special teams, for example, in this case, and you have to now spend practice time correcting it, does that take away from your intended plan of what you want to work on game plan-wise, getting ready for a game this week?
No, if you don't spend the appropriate amount of time on all three phases, then shame on you, and it shouldn't be working from the beginning. Things that we addressed, we didn't address anything or do anything different in practice today than we've done prior. Obviously, we can't outkick our coverage, and Aaron knows that. So, being the difference between practicing inside and outside sometimes, it's been these fields they look beautiful. It's been hard not having them, having to go inside as much as we have, and not wanting to tear up not wanting to use the game field every single day. Those things, we went outside today, and I thought it helped a little bit. We'll see over the next couple days. That'll be a big help. But if you don't spend the appropriate amount of time all year long, and now you're trying to spend more time, then you've screwed up from the very beginning.
In terms of delegating, the special teams responsibilities, it really wouldn't seem like it would be all that different from what you guys have done. Coach Reffett has kind of ran some things in practice. Coach House has ran some certain things in practice. What is kind of the plan right now in terms of delegating those responsibilities?
We have, all the full-time coaches minus Coach Haywood and Coach Blankenship have a role on each specific team. The schematics and however we're going to do everything, that's changed a little bit. There's one guy that'll take the lead on each team, and then we'll come together as a staff and make sure that we're all on the same page for everything. But, we've done this in my 30 years of doing this. I've been on staffs where you have a special teams coordinator who just organizes, and you have one guy do certain teams. I've done kickoff team for numerous years and punt return. Or you have a guy that does all four. Bobby Houck, who just won the I think his 100 and whatever game and became the all-time winningest coach in the Big Sky Conference, who's done a phenomenal job. When we were together at San Diego State, some of the things that he was able to do, unbelievable. So there's a different way. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat, and we did some good things over the last couple of days.
And it's not that you guys won't be lacking for motivation or anything like that, but I'm a little bit curious about how you frame it in some ways going up to Boise. Do you kind of say, hey, we're 1-13 all time, we could make history, get our second win ever against Boise? Or do you just say, hey, it's another game, we take care of what we need to take care of, we should be competitive, and we should definitely have a good shot?
You're a very charismatic sports writer. Drama, all those things. I don't 1-13, that's news. I know we've won it once. I don't worry about that stuff and tell those guys. What I have told our football team is we've got to go up there and prepare to beat Boise, and then we've got to prepare the following week to beat the next opponent and then the next opponent, because it's November, going into November 11th, and we haven't been eliminated yet from bowl contention. We got a big hill to climb, but I think this group is excited to play, and they don't care who it is. So we'll go out there and we'll go up to Boise, and we've only beat them once, great, then we're going to try and make it twice.
Coach, for you guys on kick returns on Saturday, were there any conversations on the sidelines afterwards? Were guys maybe not consciously, but trying to make the big play to try to match something that UNLV was doing? Where you guys ended up starting behind the 25 a few different times?
We had 3 bad kickoff returns. A couple of them they hit into the end zone. We couldn't return them. We think we have some guys back there that can do some dynamic things. Obviously, kickoff return is one of those deals where you have to hit that thing full speed. And it's kind of like the NASCAR smoke. Sometimes that hole's going to open up and it's not very big and you're going to get a big play. And sometimes you're going to get the tar knocked out of you. And there is a very specific guy that is good at that on most teams. Not everybody can be a kickoff returner. Significantly different than a punt returner. A punt returner has an opportunity to make one guy miss usually and get vertical like De Jesus did. Kickoff return guy has to be willing to run into a brick wall. And there was a couple that I thought we hit hard and they made plays and they defeated blocks. And there was a couple that I thought there was one we tried to bounce outside and that's never going to work. So we'll have a plan this week, and if they kick it to us in play, we're going to do everything we can to try and pop one and give our field offense the best field position we can.
You mentioned the Nevada offense. What stands out about their defense, and how you plan to attack that?
Yep. Spencer Danielson, who's their DC, he worked numerous camps with myself when I was at San Diego State when he was coming up before he was even a full-time, and I think he's a really good football coach. Obviously, Coach Avalos is a defensive guy and has his hand in that battle. They do both. They'll give you a 4-man front. They'll give you a 3-man front. They'll run games. They'll play multiple coverages. I think they're very physical in the secondary. 10 middle linebacker. He flies around and is everywhere. When he was at Oregon and I was at Arizona State, we had some great battles with him being as the defensive coordinator and myself at Arizona State. Some of their structure things significantly different than what we saw this last week. They play really hard, so it'll be a great challenge. Dylan has to be on point. We've got some big receivers that can go and run routes, and we have to be point and crisp on our routes when it's man and when it's zone and knowing where to go. Being able to read the coverages by how they line up and give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
I believe Tavian and Deuce were the only guys to not dress on Saturday. What's going on with Deuce in particular?
Deuce wasn't available to play. He practiced today, so we plan on him being available on Saturday. And Tavian's knee is still just not he's not explosive out of it yet. He did some stuff pre-practice today. We'll have a better idea on Thursday. Derek Moore looked as good in practice as he has. He's pretty beat up for a true freshman. His ankles and shoulders are pretty beat up, but he's done a phenomenal job in Tavian's absence. It would be a great boost if we can get Tavian back. But if Tavian can't go full speed, I mean, it's better off to have Derek out there, and that's Tavian is he's the ultimate competitor, and he is as frustrated as they can be.
And then Cy, I mean, he made his return as well. I mean, you know, I'm just curious about your read on his performance in particular on Saturday.
I thought he did some really good things, and I thought he did some things that looked like he hadn't played in a couple weeks. And I mean, staying in football shape is really hard. That game helped him. Practice today will help him. We should get Jay Sean Lowry back, which he was out last week with a concussion. That will help because then we can get back in the rotation. Tate got back, didn't get as much practice reps as we would like him to have, but Tate Zimmerman, he's full speed this week. So the rotation amongst those three will help, and we can keep those guys fresh. We expect to have Alec and Mahalis for the full game going into it. And then Dimitri's been a stalwart all season long, and I thought he looked better today than he has. So we should have more guys available at linebacker, which will help on special teams also Saturday.
Anything else?
Awesome. Everybody's going to Boise. Safe travels. We'll see you up there. Go Lobos.